this testimony would save thousands and thousands of parents and their kids. Imagine all the kids that went off the derech if in the unraveling process, stage 1, stage 2, they had a mother like you and a father like you, right? And I don't deal with those stages, and that's not my field. But every mistake that causes mental breakdowns, like Reb Gershon Edelstein, Rosh Yeshiva Panovich, when I said, what about mental health issues? He said, when a kid feels, Chanish kan tata, Chanish kan mama, I don't have a tata, I don't have a mama. Why do they feel like that? Because we tell them, I can't look at you. How could you do this? Why are we doing that? Because when kids start to unravel, the immediate, the natural result is, I got to stop this. And it's for the kid's benefit. I got to stop him. No, you're not going out. No, you're not happening. You're not doing this. And all the knots. And what happens is, as they unravel, instead of it happening like your way, which takes tremendous guts and training, you're not breaking him on the way down. So there would not be as many, probably most, not suicidal kids and kids on drugs on that level. Maybe they'd go for weed, they wouldn't need the cocaine, the heroin, God forbid. If during the unraveling process, the parents did what you're doing, the problem is they think like, I'm just giving up. The kid says, you know what, I want to go outside at night and I want to wear a mini skirt, I'm just going to give up. So they're forced to stop the kid and fight with the kid. So the kid goes out with a big skirt and then just pulls it up and then pulls it down and all of that, everything that you people, hundreds of you, went through, they're going through now, hundreds of other kids. Now, if there would be a way to know, right? Now, you need Moshe Rabbeinu, you need Eliyahu Navi to come and tell the parents, no, this kid is going to go off and everything that you're doing now is causing damage, right? They're not going to listen to me. Right? But we think like, and also we think that's chinuch. We think chinuch is fighting with a teenager and stopping them. That's not chinuch. That's too late. Chinuch is to bring them up. They should know and love Yiddishkeit and want to be frum. Once they say, I don't want to do this, it's not chinuch. It becomes a different battle. And I'm sure that there are some kids that maybe the parents saved. They do these things where they send them to London to a yeshiva, and they find out he has a girlfriend, and they send him to like South America or South Africa or to the jungle and to some yeshiva somewhere. It might even help some people. But look at the ones when it doesn't help, the damage that's done to their emotional health for months and months and maybe years, where they feel, and they're forced. The parents think, because I have to show them that I'm not happy with you. So the kid ends up going through months and years knowing my father and my mother don't like me. My father and my mother don't like me, and especially if the cause is not the big Yetzer Hara that everybody's worried about, that we're not seeing the tragedy in the street from psych wards and drugs coming because of that. It's coming because of pain. It's a Brachenkeit. So there's no question, out of 100%, if every parent would do this, like what you're doing, and you're as they unravel, you're hugging, you're holding him, and there's no question that for most kids that's the right move. Maybe there's a couple of percent that need the other way. I'm not saying no. I don't have any way of knowing, but just look at the thousands of kids that were broken while the parents were advised, you got to stop him, you got to have rules and consequences. That's what he's missing in his life. What they're missing is rules and consequences. And what happens is, if it would work, gewaldig. But it doesn't work, and then the kid feels hated by his mother and his father, and he has mental breakdowns. That's what Reb Gershon said. Emotional pain. Yeah, you're doing it. Right. So the only people that can do what you're doing during the unraveling process is somebody who already went through this several times and did not do it. And now you look at the pain, the horrible pain that your kids have, because during the unraveling process, how you fought them and did all those things to save them. And some of them were horrible, and even some of them physically horrible, some of them, all of them emotionally horrible, making the kid feel like, I hate you, and you're bad, and you're lazy, and you're stupid, and why are you doing this, hoping that we're going to stop it out of love. This car is sailing down the streets one after another, 100 miles an hour, going through red lights. You want to get that kid to hit the brake. So you're trying, right? But it doesn't work if it's pain and trauma. And then what they're left with is so much more pain and trauma that it's unbelievable. So you who experienced the breaking of the children much more, that could have much longer term damage that you're undoing now, Baruch Hashem, you now see a new kid unraveling and you're saying, I don't want to do this to him. I'm not, if the whole system and the whole Torah and the whole community and everything in his life is not making him from, then I'm not going to be able to do it with zwei petch or zwei bad looks or stopping him from cutting off his payas and telling him you're such a disappointment, 400 years you're cutting off. All the guilt doesn't work. So the question is, I don't deal with stage 1 and stage 2. The question is, why is the default what goes against every sefer in the book? Because I'll show you sefer after sefer that tells you, like Nesiv Shalom, Kishirayim Eitzel Yeled Rachei Begil Hispagrus Natia Lashchistus. When you see the child, a young child, right, or teenager, and he's going off, corruption, internet, pornography, whatever is corruption, right? He tells you what to do, but nobody does it. Nobody listens to the Nesiv Shalom, and the results are horrible. The results are literally thousands and thousands of kids where what the parents did not work, and they had extra damage. I'm talking about suicides, drugs, and drug overdose because of enormous pain, because they didn't listen to the instruction of the Nesiv Shalom, and so many chinuch books and so many Torah books. Our default position should be what we should know what to do. Not the default is break them and go to the therapist, and the therapist says, and I love therapists, but not about this. Rules and consequences and boundaries and rules. It's your house. Where did they get it from? From therapists, by the way. And they're teaching you instead of what the Torah says, because nobody taught it to them, they're teaching you what the professor in college taught them based on research done with Goyim. It doesn't work. So if it would work, I wouldn't even mind. I would say, you know what, you have to try it. Try it for 3 months, 6 months. No, they try it until the ground. They try it and 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 they try it until the therapist says, oh, this is crazy. He lifted a hammer? Got to call 911. And then they tell you to call 911, throw the kid in jail or boot camp. Whoa. I wish that the frum therapists and the askanim in the earlier stages would just give the parents the prescription of all of the Das Torah that's out there. We wouldn't have had this amount of deaths and lost children. It's horrible. Rabbi Yosef Rosenblum, he gave you hadracha from step 1, everything to endorse him and accept him and to embrace him. He never said consequences, boundaries, Rav Pam. I mean, I have thousands of stories. None of them I've seen. Fight the kid, tell him you can't do it, you can't do it. That's all in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade. You fight him to take a bath and to put on boots when it's raining outside and to use an umbrella and to put on a scarf and to do your homework and to eat your veggies. Once you have a rebellious teenager off the derech or turn the wrong way, it's time for Hatzalah. It's time for life-saving Hatzalah work, not more chinuch that didn't work and more chinuch that didn't work, and do it with greater consequences, and we're not going to give you any money in total distance. Everybody here, almost everybody did that. And most people who lost their kids out there did that. How many kids are we going to lose until we stop doing that?